investigating the establishment and budgetary provisions of the PEAC-PFIPC. Yakubu said the office withheld financial clearance, no recruitment or payroll was approved, and the Federal Ministry of Finance, as well as the Office of the Accountant General, were directed to withhold all payment instruments. The Budget Office said that the personnel, overhead and capital provisions never matured into payments or procurement, as the legal and administrative requirements for expenditure were not fulfilled. It added that it would continue to cooperate with the House Committee by providing all relevant records and documents to support its position.
Meanwhile, the United States has imposed a 12.5% tariff on imports from Nigeria as part of a new trade measure targeting countries that have not effectively prohibited the importation of goods produced with forced labor. The measure, announced by the Office of the United States Trade Representative, affects imports from 60 countries, with Nigeria facing a 12.5% tariff, while countries including India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Mexico, and the United Kingdom face a lower 10% rate. According to the U.S. Trade Representative, the tariffs followed conducted investigations aimed at encouraging trading partners to strengthen measures against forced labor in global supply chains. The agency said the tariffs will not apply to certain exempted products, including essential raw materials, goods likely to cause supply disruptions, products unavailable in sufficient quantities in the United States, and selected items from countries that have adopted or pledged to implement forced labor import bans. The United States maintained that the new tariffs are intended to promote stronger enforcement against forced labor while allowing exemptions where the measures are unlikely to address the trade practices under investigation.
Troops of Operation Savannah Shield have neutralized 4 suspected kidnappers and rescued an abducted victim during an ambush operation in Kayama local government area of Kwara State. The development was reported by counterinsurgency and security analyst Zagazola Makama, covering the Lake Chad region. According to the report, the operation was carried out by troops of Sector 1 deployed at the Forward Operating Base, FOB, Kayama. Makama reported that the troops acted on credible intelligence and laid an ambush at a known crossing point along the Junloji village riverine axis, where suspected kidnappers were expected to pass. The report stated that troops engaged the armed suspects in a gun battle, during which 4 suspected kidnappers were killed and the rescued victim was evacuated to the Kayama General Hospital for treatment.
In a related development, troops of Operation Hardin Kai and the Yobe State Hunters Group have arrested 5 suspected kidnappers at Jegalari village in Fune local government area of the state. In a statement today, the acting military information officer of Operation Hardin Kai, Muhammad Goni, said the troops achieved this during a well-coordinated intelligence-led operation conducted on the 23rd of July 2026. Goni said the suspects are in military custody alongside the recovered exhibits for further investigation to ascertain their involvement in kidnapping and other related criminal activities. He said Operation Hardin Kai remains resolute in its commitment to denying terrorists and other criminal elements freedom of action across the Northeast through sustained intelligence-driven operations.
Security at the grassroots received a boost in Oluyole local government area of Oyo State, with the commissioning of a community Amotekun security post at Ayegolomi, one of the state's fastest growing residential communities. The project is aimed at strengthening intelligence gathering, improving emergency response, and enhancing the safety of lives and property within the area. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi was there.
Of mankind, I have my position in this particular project. Commissioning the facility, the secretary to the Oyo State government, Professor Musiba Babatunde, said security has remained a major priority of the Governor Seyi Makinde administration since assuming office in 2019. He noted that the establishment of the community Amotekun post will complement the efforts of conventional security agencies by extending security coverage to communities and promoting intelligence sharing between residents and security operatives. Professor Babatunde commended the chairman of Oluyole local government, Engineer Akeem Olatunji, for initiating the project, describing it as a practical demonstration of the government's commitment to tackling insecurity at the grassroots.
What the government is doing in addressing insecurity challenges, especially at the grassroots level, having an Amotekun office, being open in this particular community, whereby there is no security coverage from the Nigerian police, or it's going to go a long way to give assurances to the citizens and the residents of Oluyole community.
In his remarks, the deputy governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement, APM in Oyo State, Engineer Muftau Opunsalao, described security as the primary responsibility of every government and called for greater investment in community-based policing. He also advocated the speedy establishment of state police to further strengthen the protection of lives and property, while applauding the council chairman for supporting the operation of the Amotekun Corps and other security agencies.
We are not surprised. He has been a performing chairman since from the inception, and that has been the reason why the composition of the leadership of our party have decided to elevate him.
Earlier, the chairman Oluyole local government, Engineer Akeem Olatunji, explained that the project was initiated by members of the Ayegun-Olomi community before the council intervened to complete it. He said the council also provided water, electricity and motorcycles to support the operations of the Nigerian Forest Security Services and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. According to him, the location of the security post was carefully chosen because of the rapid development of the area, its proximity to the Ibadan Circular Road, and the distance residents previously traveled before accessing security services.
I can say it's one of the fastest developing community probably in Nigeria. So I'm very close to the Circular Road. So by virtue of that, the security of our people has to be at the front burner. So that's why we decided to put this one here. At least residents of this area to report to the nearest station. It's Asayo, which is about several miles away from here.
Traditional rulers, community leaders and residents commended the initiative, expressing optimism that the security post will curb criminal activities and create a safer environment for residents and businesses. The event was attended by traditional and community leaders from Ayegun, Olomi and Olujoro communities and featured the presentation of motorcycle to the Amotekun Corps, the Nigerian Forest Security Services and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps to strengthen security operations in the area. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amopitan, has said the electoral umpire cannot achieve full independence without financial autonomy. He warned that reliance on the regular budgetary process could weaken its ability to conduct free, fair and credible elections. Amopitan said granting INEC greater control over its finances was critical to strengthening the Commission's operations and improving public confidence ahead of the 2027 general elections. The INEC chairman argued that although the Constitution provides for the Commission's funding through the Consolidated Revenue Fund, the existing arrangement does not guarantee true financial independence, noting that the Commission's dependence remained a major limitation to its independence. However, Amopitan said all stakeholders must collaborate if Nigeria hopes to conduct peaceful and credible elections in 2027.
Similarly, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC State Office, says the third and final phase of the continuous voter registration exercise, which was extended by 2 weeks, will end on Sunday, 26 July 2026, ahead of the 2027 general election. Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Adeniran Tella urged eligible Nigerians, especially residents of the state who are yet to register, and registered voters seeking transfers, PVC replacement, or correction of personal details to take advantage of the extension before the deadline. Professor Tella advised prospective registrants not to wait until the final days of the exercise, warning that late registration could result in congestion, long queues, and avoidable disappointments. The Resident Electoral Commissioner reaffirmed INEC's commitment to conducting a transparent, inclusive, and credible voter registration exercise, urging all eligible residents to complete their registration within the stipulated period.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oluyole State, Ibadan. The Oluyole State government has said its decision to approach the Federal High Court for clarification on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's demand for copies of all contracts and details of transactions with contractors between 2021 and 2025 as not an attempt to forestall investigation. This was contained in the release signed by Special Advisor Media to the Governor, Dr. Sulaiman Oluyole, who added that neither the state government nor Governor Seyi Makinde has anything to hide. The statement noted that Governor Makinde's administration has managed state finances with prudence, which is why it has successfully constructed more roads, rehabilitated more primary healthcare centers, increased access to qualitative education, among others. Recall that the EFCC had written to the state's Accountant General requesting copies of all contracts and details of transactions with contractors from 2021 to the date of its letter. The court acknowledged the EFCC's statutory powers to investigate financial crimes, but ruled that the Commission's demand was speculative and amounted to a fishing expedition. Justice Nkyoye Maha, who presided over the matter, set aside the EFCC's letter dated 2nd June 2025 and declared that any request by the Commission must be reasonable and tied to specific allegations.
The Olubado of Ibadan, His Imperial Majesty Oba Dr. Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja Arisa I, has announced a program of activities for the 2026 Oluyole Masquerade Festival, urging residents and participants to ensure a peaceful celebration in line with the traditions of Ibadan land. The program was contained in a press statement issued today by the Chief Press Secretary to the Olubado, Chief Ayuade Olugbemiga. According to the statement, the 4-day festival will commence on Monday, 27th July 2026 with Aisun Odun Oluyole Festival Eve. The Oluyole Masquerade will first pay courtesy visits to the Olubado at his Okearemo Palace, where prayers will be offered for the monarch, members of the Olubado Council, indigenes, residents, and the continued peace and prosperity of Ibadan land. The monarch reiterated that in accordance with the tradition of Ibadan land, women are forbidden from seeing the Oluyole Masquerade, cautioning members of the public against taking photographs or recording videos of the masquerade during the festival. Oba Ladoja further warned the Oluyole Masquerade, other Egungun leaders and their followers, adherents of various religions, and members of the public to refrain from any act capable of causing unrest or breakdown of law and order during the celebration.
The conviction of accomplices in the Orire kidnapping case has reignited public debate over the appropriate punishment for those involved in kidnapping-related offences. While some Nigerians are calling for the death penalty as a strong deterrent, others argue that life imprisonment is a more just and effective punishment. Staff reporter Olubumi Lawal has more.
Kidnapping remains one of Nigeria's most disturbing security challenges, leaving victims traumatized, forcing families to pay huge ransoms and, in many cases, claiming innocent lives. The recent sentencing of accomplices of the Oluyole kidnapping case has renewed public debate over whether life imprisonment or the death penalty is the more appropriate punishment for those involved in the crime. Some residents who spoke with BCOS News insisted that anyone aids, abets, or participates in kidnapping should face the maximum punishment prescribed by law, arguing that stiffer penalties will serve as a strong deterrent to would-be offenders.
Whatever can make you to be accomplice of killers, you should go with them. Judgment should blame all of you together.
The judgment is the reason why they stopped what they call death by shooting, or what they call it, conferring in those days. I don't know why it should be stopped. It shouldn't. At least it creates fears into those that are coming behind, so they will have to stop. So all this life sentence is not enough.
Others, however, believe that although kidnappers and their accomplices deserve severe punishment, life imprisonment is a more appropriate sentence. They contend that it permanently removes dangerous criminals from society while preserving the principles of justice and the sanctity of life.
The judgment given to the accomplices are okay. I think it's okay for them. Then for the culprits, I know that the view of the government that will be given to them will be quite different from what they give to the accomplices. So we are still expecting the government to do something about what is going to happen to the case. But for the accomplices, it's not enough.
For every offense, there is a stated law, and I believe we should go by what the law states as a punishment for each offense.
A legal practitioner, Mr. Oluyole, while reacting to the court's judgment, explained that the law provides both minimum and maximum penalties for kidnapping-related offenses, noting that the convicted accomplices received the minimum sentence because they were found guilty of aiding the commission of the crime rather than being the principal offenders.
The justification for that, from the lens of the law, is that for every punishment, the law provides for both maximum and minimum punishment. Regarding the Oluyole kidnap, without sounding modest, the GOC told the journalists that they allowed the real terrorists to walk away. So those that were quickly tried are 3 among the 8 initially arrested, who are facilitating logistics for the kidnappers. So I don't see anything wrong there if they are given minimum sentencing for aiding and abetting terrorism.
As the debate over life imprisonment and the death penalty continues, many Nigerians agree that the most effective response to kidnapping lies in stronger security, prompt prosecution, and the consistent enforcement of the law. With kidnapping still posing a serious threat to lives and livelihoods, citizens remain hopeful that improved law enforcement, speedy justice, and sustained security reforms will restore public confidence and make communities safer. Olubunmi Lawal, BCOS News.
State Police Command has dismantled a suspected goods diversion syndicate and arrested 2 suspects in connection with the unlawful diversion of goods worth about 32 million naira. The command's public relations officer, DSP Ayinla Olayinka, said operatives of the command monitoring unit acting on credible intelligence raided the hideout of the syndicate in the Rekpo area of Oyo town. The operation led to the arrest of 40-year-old Oluyole Karim and 46-year-old Ogunbiyi Monday. Police also recovered a truck in Lagos loaded with 570 bags of Guinea corn, allegedly diverted while being transported from Kaduna State. According to the police, preliminary investigation revealed that the suspects are members of a syndicate involved in diverting goods in transit for financial gain. The suspects reportedly confessed to their role, while efforts are ongoing to arrest other members of the group and recover additional diverted goods. Commending the operatives, the Commissioner of Police in Oyo State, Mr. Abimbola Olugbenga, reaffirmed the command's commitment to protecting lives, property, and legitimate commercial activities across the state.
On the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has won a court challenge, temporarily halting the parliamentary impeachment process over misconduct allegations linked to the Farmgate scandal. The Western Cape High Court granted Ramaphosa an interim interdict that temporarily prevents the impeachment committee from proceeding with public hearings, while the president challenges the legality of a 2022 report that found he may have committed serious violations and misconduct. Judge Andre Lagrange announced today that pending the determination by the court of the applicant's review, Farmgate, a scandal involving $500,000 stashed in a sofa at Ramaphosa's ranch, nearly cost the president the leadership of his African National Congress (ANC) in late 2022. Ramaphosa has always denied any wrongdoing and ruled out resigning over the incident since the allegedly undeclared stash of foreign currency came to light after it was reported stolen in 2020.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. The Budget Office of the Federation says no kobo appropriated for the disputed Presidential Economic Advisory Council and Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council (PAC-PFIPC) was spent.
The United States has imposed a 12.5% tariff on imports from Nigeria as part of a new trade measure targeting countries that have not effectively prohibited the importation of goods produced with forced labor.
The Oyo State government said its decision to approach the Federal High Court for clarification on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's demand for copies of all contracts and details of transactions with contractors between 2021 and 2025 is not an attempt to forestall investigation.
On the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has won a court challenge temporarily halting the parliamentary impeachment process over misconduct allegations linked to the Farmgate scandal.
If you see something suspicious, alert the authorities immediately for timely response. Be vigilant. That's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Ajedoyin Olojede and delivered by
Idowu Shekoni
and Jamila Elegbede. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.
From the city of Ibadan, the home of ancient warlords, in the Pacesetter state, this is Oluyole FM 98.5.